incoming president, Patricia Frudenberg. My name is Marty Mangello. Of course, everybody knows me. And I'd like to kick it over as the host of the meeting to Patty Frudenberg of New York, our incoming president.
Hello, hello, and greetings from New York.
Patty.
I am the current president. Hello. I'm not the current president. Oh my God. I'm the current president-elect, and I'm a little ahead of myself there. Again, thank you for joining us. I was in the wrong meeting a few minutes ago, so I'm glad I found my friends here. However, we are also, staying clear of staying healthy, staying unhealthy. Like it's let me tell you, there's a lot of bugs going around, put it that way. I'm trying to be positive, but at the same time it's happening. We had a full house that was under the weather as well. I stayed clear. That's why I started off that way, saying that. However, I'm just hoping that I don't get it. And Paul, I hope you recover quickly. I'm glad that you were able to make it to the meeting.
Thank
Again,
you.
thank you for joining us here.
Good to see you.
We do have an amazing meeting today. So I'm looking forward to all the presentations and the raffle.
Yay, raffle drawing. Thank you, Patty. Moving over to our incoming president-elect, Ritu Chopra. She's going to be coming in, of course, right after Patty as the next president. Ritu.
Hello, everyone. Well, first of all, I want to apologize of this little technical glitch that I'm trying to have everyone can message each other, but somewhere my meeting settings are not allowing it. So my apologies for that. And then I am looking forward to our guests presentation, Brittini and Mike. Dolly cannot join us tonight. I just messaged Dr. Mike. Hopefully he would be able to join. He has a special message for Giving Tuesday. Welcome everyone, and hoping that Dr. Pauline can also join us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ritu. Dr. Pauline, of course, is in London right now. Dolly is finishing up a trip from India and headed back. She got stuck at the airport. Her flight was changed. She already sent an apology letter. Pauline will be on from England shortly. Also at the United Nations, our peace ambassador is there live and sending photographs on WhatsApp. She's sitting in the rotunda in the United Nations, and that's Quanta Dawn Light. She's our certified peace expert. So if you're getting photos of Quanta at the UN, you know that she's there doing a good thing. Also, if you can do participant screen sharing to be enabled today, that'll be fantastic. It is Giving Tuesday today. I've got some stats and figures for everybody. We still have 1.4 million members worldwide in Rotary. We are still donating 47 million volunteer hours each year, and 33 million was awarded on global service initiatives for 2020 and 2021. It still is Gordon McNally's intent during his presidency, right now, which of course runs from July 1st always through June 30 is our fiscal year, to give away $500 million in grants, the most amount of money that Rotary has ever given out in history. So that'll be pretty cool. Just stay tuned for that, and keep your ideas for global grants coming. I'm going to share just Giving Tuesday at Rotary International right now, so you can see what's going on. You may have gotten an email, and you may be receiving mail at your home. This week I got a full color brochure from Rotary, offering, hey, jump in on this. So this is what's going on, guys, with Rotary International today on Giving Tuesday. And these are those statistics I mentioned to you of where we're at right now. And can everybody see my screen okay?
Yep.
Huh?
Yeah. Still working on polio. We probably have our best chance this year of announcing that polio has been eradicated from the earth. And we're battling with the Carter Center for that second disease in world history to be knocked out. The Carter Center is busy, of course, almost 30 years now, fighting guinea worm disease. Their objective is to capture the second disease on earth being eradicated, which would bump us to the third disease, polio, being eradicated. So it's kind of a battle between Rotary.org and the Carter Center. And in that way, I would say that's a good battle to see who gets to knock out the second disease in Earth human history. And no challenge is too big for us. People have often asked me, how much have you guys spent on this whole thing? And it's about $2 billion is what we've spent so far on knocking out polio. So we're still getting that 100 million per year from the Gates Foundation. And this is what's going on in Rotary. So I'm going to shut this down and just hand it over to Brittini Flatley of Chicago, Illinois, the Windy City, one of my favorite cities, because when you go to visit Brittini, being a sailor, there is, of course, Navy Pier, and there's always seagulls flying around in downtown. It's pretty much, of all the continents I've been to, the only city is Brittini City, where you'll see seagulls flying in between skyscrapers. It's amazing. So I don't even think, Patty, we don't really have seagulls flying in between Manhattan skyscrapers. I don't know why, but in Chicago,
no,
you hear that all day long.
They are nice. There are nice rats that, like, wear Gucci and walk with you down the street, though.
So without further ado, I'll hand this over to Brittini Flatley of Chicago.
Thank you, Marty. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I am indeed here in Chicago. And it's actually, as you can tell, quite sunny today. And ironically, I am staring at a prism on the floor as I'm talking to you guys. So I know it's going to be a great meeting. I would pick it up and show you, but I might, the screen, actually, let's try. Let's see if you guys can see that. I don't know if you can, but that, good omens. So I will jump right into it. Today I was told to talk about a passion project of mine. And everybody who knows me knows that I am deeply passionate about real estate, but first and foremost, people. And what does that mean? There's so many people on the planet, but specifically vulnerable people. When I drive my daughter to school in the morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I look on my phone and it's 15 degrees and I see somebody sleeping outside, I have a severe issue with that for a number of reasons. Because I know quite a few business owners and government officials and individuals who, if we put our resources together, could eradicate that. And to Marty's point, there are so many different issues across the planet, across the globe, that could be eradicated if we just chose to. It's just a choice, right? Like, you wake up and you choose to have coffee or tea. And I think it all starts with mindset, right? We, as human beings, develop patterns and mindsets. And I think if we're more intentional with how we think, we can help other people. If we come from a mindset of abundance, right, we would be able to give more freely, considering it's Giving Tuesday. So with that said, I will jump into the project that I've been working on for the last 2.5 years, going on 3 years, here in Chicago in Brighton Park. Brighton Park is a highly controversial neighborhood here in the city of Chicago. For a number of reasons. We have migrants that have been brought to Chicago, and there's a lot of protests going on of should they be housed in Brighton Park, should they not, who should be housed in Brighton Park, should there be supportive or affordable housing, how do we pay for that? There's a few environmental issues in the area, but the area is also wonderful because it has existing infrastructure that's not being utilized. And what does that mean? That means ample bus stops. It's close to both airports. It's close to the loop. It's close to correctional facilities. You can get on the train very easily at many stops. There's tons of grocery stores and daycares, and it's just got great infrastructure to build housing, and it's a very buildable area. So I was working on a project on 4829 South Kedzie. It's 4.1 acres and 180 square feet lot to build a ground up development in 2 phases for vulnerable populations. The project really, the inspiration came to me in the vision really is brutalism style and very green, very sustainable, eco-friendly, similar to what you'll see for the aesthetic in the St. Regis, Chicago. You'll also see it in Marrakesh. Singapore is doing a lot of this. And I've got a few photos if I can screen share. Let me see if I can screen share here. Can you all see that? Can you see my screen?
Yep, we can.
Yep.
Perfect. That's wonderful. Okay. Let's see here. So to give you an idea of what the inspiration, what it would look like is vibrant. So obviously, and this is taken from Singapore of things they're already doing. So nothing about the way that the development or the build would be new. Parts of the world are already exploring this and already doing this. And some of our urban city centers like Chicago, their building is brick. It's older. It's not innovative. It's not modern. So it's really thinking through how to get government officials to see the future. And so if you take a look here, you'll see just some more inspiration. And obviously this is elaborate. This would be customized to a commercial mixed use development, 1 to 2 to 3 bedroom units for individuals. But a lot of this, circular design, lots of greenery, open spaces, connectivity, and really bringing back, the village communal lifestyle that we've had in previous ages, and people throughout the world have live in communal type living. So I'll show you this last photo and then get into, so you see large windows and very green, and very simple, modern, clean lines. So let me pop back here. I know I only have 10 minutes, so let me get back to my screen. Okay. So the project I named the Halim A Flowers Center, and really village, for a number of reasons. Halim was a young boy who was incarcerated as a child, called a super predator, and is now a worldwide famous artist. He was commissioned to paint a portrait for the Queen, the late Queen, when she was still alive. So he has left prison and done phenomenal, amazing things. Not to mention, he's probably one of the most empathetic human beings I've ever met, and I've met a lot of people. And so part of the inspiration is to show that, yes, you can have profit for purpose developments that do produce a return, maybe not as large as people would like, but you can also show the community, more importantly, that yes, the circumstances might not be ideal, but there are people who can make it out, and you do have a chance. It's all about building hope, right? That's the kind of underlying theme of the curations and the developments. The blueprint is a mixed use blueprint. So at the bottom of all the buildings is supportive services and commercial space. And what does that mean? So a lot of the people that leave jail and prison, a lot of returning vets here in the States or homeless need certain services, whether that's mental health, whether that's medical, sometimes it's different counseling, music, art, therapy, yoga, whatever that is, that's all on site. Above that is the residential units. A good example of this would be Second Chance Center in Aurora, Colorado. They have buildings that have been constructed in a supportive manner. They have dogs, therapeutic dogs on site, and the grounds are immaculate. I live in a tall high rise right by Navy Pier, as Marty mentioned. And my building is not kept nearly as clean, our lobby, as the Second Chance Center in Aurora, Colorado that I toured. So these buildings do work, and the residents do take pride in their space. They just need the space. And as a young woman of color developer, there are not many, at least stateside in the United States. There are women developers on a small scale, but nobody that has taken on such a large project to build a REIT, so to speak, or a larger development that is strictly supportive, which falls under the affordable housing umbrella. It's a different type of building. So back to the construct of the building, 2 phases, commercial at the bottom, residential at the top. And on the commercial spaces, we are focused on building spaces where everybody can work. So what does that look like? A kitchen. There's also industrial space where people can come and do art, woodworking, and all that stuff. And then a little food truck space so that the community can actually come on site and interact with the residents, because our biggest thing is connectivity. It's not, hey, we're going to put this population here and isolate them. They've already been isolated, right? They've already been outcast. So it's really, how do we find simple, easy ways to ease everybody together and create that unity that our communities really need? Last night I was looking at videos of Chicago. If you type in on Instagram or TikTok, Chicago, all that comes up, if it's not about restaurants, is shooting. Teens running around shooting. And our city has so much more outside of that, but we do have a problem. And a lot of it stems from people who don't have food. They don't have a roof, right? Basic necessities that should be universal and available to everybody are not. And our wealthy class has left a lot, right? So they've gone down to Florida and other places. And so it leaves a huge gap of, right, who's going to solve this? And so it's really banding together with outside capital, outside resources to care enough to come into the city with people who are here to really kind of help kick off some of these projects and then let the city follow. So that is my passion project. I think there's tons of amazing souls on the Southwest sides. I am obviously of African-American heritage, and I picked a predominantly brown community to serve on purpose, for purpose, to show people that we can have unity, and it doesn't need to be a separation issue. So if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them. But that is a project that I hopefully would like to see to fruition at some point, and scale across the country, because we do have obviously low income communities. We have jails and prisons in every state at this point. And I think there can be alternatives that are a little more thoughtfully designed and a little more healthy for the population. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brittini. I'm going to turn the meeting over to the president, Dr. Pauline Crawford. She's here now. We can't hear you yet, Pauline. You're still muted. There you go.
I may have to leave it with you. I'm very unsure how to do this on a mobile, but it's good to be here. I put my cup of tea away, and welcome from a very, very cold Brighton. It's freezing here, so I'm sitting with my scarf on. But it's really good to see you all, and I find your project fascinating, Brittini. I think it's wonderful what you're doing, and I think I will pass over to the rest of you to ask questions of Brittini. Please do. Oh, Dr. Mike's here. Good.
Yeah,
So anybody questions?
I'll hit it with my first question. What do you think the first and second biggest roadblocks you're facing are?
So for those who are not familiar with Chicago real estate and or Chicago politics, Chicago is a very old, uniquely run city. And so a lot of times you are up against a machine of sorts that is used to doing things a certain way. I have elected to not use lobbyists and just do it myself. And so I face a lot of pushback from family offices here that have been in lower income neighborhoods, probably not for the right reasons. And what does that mean? Putting trash facilities in poor Black and brown neighborhoods, right? So they're trying to protect their interests, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of hurdles that I have to navigate. So I would say, a combination of private and governmental and that balance and trying to navigate it to keep everybody happy is really difficult and very complicated. Luckily, I've already put in 3 years, so we're making progress at a slower pace, but at least we're making progress. And I would say the second thing is, community buy-in. Chicago is a very segregated place. The East Side doesn't mix with the West Side. The Polish do not mix with the Italians, the Irish. I mean, it takes a strong voice, which we don't technically have at the moment, to really unify the neighborhoods. And hopefully with this project and being on the news and talking about it, a voice will emerge that will start to show people there are ways to, unify. But those would be the two main is private family offices, government, and then community buy-in.
Gotcha. Thank
That's
you.
good. I think Aaron's got a question. Aaron?
Yeah. So, well, first off, I'd like to say I've lived in Chicago twice. I'm pretty familiar with it. I lived in Bucktown back in the day when it was still very dangerous, and I volunteered at a bookstore next door to in the Congress Theater area. Really familiar with Chicago, love the town. Secondly, well, my question is this. As far as getting people housed in this facility, are you talking about, like, I know in DC, for instance, they had like a voucher program where people would apply for the voucher, get vetted, and then they would get a voucher to go at an approved, privately owned apartment building or something like that. Is that more or less what you would be going for? Maybe partnering with like a Department of Human Services or what?
No. So those programs don't work anymore.
Yeah, I know. That's why.
Do they work?
They work.
Yeah. Hypothetically, but here's a great example. So I'm a single mom sitting in Chicago, and I've had the lived experience of housing instability. I've applied to those programs and have been on wait lists for years and haven't received help. I've received help from private capital, right? And friends and family. And the beauty of going through that situation was I understand how the system works here. And, you would think it's very easy, but it's highly complicated, and I'm educated. So let's imagine somebody who's not educated trying to navigate all the complexities of applying, filling out the application correctly, submitting it, following up. Then there's a long wait period because people aren't really working. So, I coined a term quite a while back called donation development for this reason. And I said to myself, I was actually in Ohio, and I was listening to a family office event about building this phenomenal meditation orb center at a university. And all of the funding for the construction was coming from private individuals who were writing $10, $15 million checks, sometimes 20, to get the building done debt-free. So I said to myself, well, why can't we do the same thing for people who need it, but also then look to certain corporations that need philanthropic or marketing exposure to supplement and subsidize these rents for people to stay there, in a 5-year gap. So for 5 years, say Chicago Bulls or Chicago Bears would join in together to subsidize the rent so that people can live here and that the project pencils. And that requires buy-in from family offices and private individuals to then come forward and put $5 million each, similar to what they're doing at Project Hood, which is they're building a rec center debt-free. They've raised, Ken Griffin just donated $5 million at a gala I was at, and I believe the entire night they raised about $1 million, a little more, and they've got about, I think to date, $28 million of the $35 million they need. So it's doable. It's proven. People are doing it, right? We just haven't had anybody apply it to a population that's outcast and vulnerable that actually needs it. Not saying that rec centers aren't important, but Chicago's a cool place, as you know. So when we have a bunch of kids, women, now migrants on the street, I think the urgency of utilizing some of these existing strategies for these populations makes a lot of sense.
So let's say hypothetically you were someone that was applying for this housing. So would they go directly to the foundation to do an onboard, or would they go straight to facility and work with like some type of case manager on site to get onboarded or get their application process started? Like it wouldn't have anything, it would be totally within the foundation. It wouldn't have anything to do per se with the local city government or their Department of Human Services or whatever.
Correct. So a nonprofit would own the land and handle the construction and development. There's a group called Concordance out of St. Louis that does this very well. Even Second Chance Center does it very well out of Aurora. There are existing nonprofits, and this is the model, right? It's not helicoptering in and rebuilding the system. It's communal, right? So it's pulling resources that already exist, that have already been boots on the ground, that already are doing great work, and giving them support to go be great. So Concordance has, I believe it's a 24-week program where they're pulling men and women out of DOC, the Department of Corrections, 6 months prior to their release and putting them through their program. And those that are successful then continue on into the housing, in a transitional housing, and then they move into a permanent housing. So they start within the walls, and they've got great systems. They've got great case managers per se. They use different verbiage, but very similar concept. And so it's really partnering with an organization like that to support the building from DOC to the transitional housing, to the permanent housing, which is why we phased out construction. So phase 1 is really that transitional, phase 2 is that permanent. And Chicago Community Trust and other organizations, nonprofit organizations, have even exercised and thought about renting to own or giving somebody some sort of home ownership and equity after they've shown, hey, I've had a position and I've worked for X number of time, even on that land, whether that's a small townhome or some sort of shared small tiny home space.
I think, thank you, Brittany. I'm going to hand over to Ritu to take us into the next passion project. I've got to be aware of the time. I know you had a question, Ritu, but we're very delighted to have you here doing that, Brittany. And now we have another speaker, don't we, Ritu?
Yes, we do. We have Dr. Mike. Welcome. And I am going to give you the co-host.
Great. Thank you. Yes, I apologize for being late. I had a procedure scheduled this morning, just came out of the surgical room, so please bear with me. I got a lot to talk about real quick. Of course, we all know that today is Giving Tuesday, and Rotary and its foundation, this is probably one of the most important days within the foundation of Rotary. So let me just tell you a few things of what they do and what I'm doing with the foundation currently. Well, if we think about the foundation and Giving Tuesday, it is expected that it's going to raise 17% more than it ever has. In other words, Giving Tuesday for the Rotary Foundation has always increased. And then if we look at what their operating costs for what you give, Rotary Foundation operates under 3% overhead. Can you imagine that, under 3%? Some other factors that I want you to know, that Rotary Foundation, through your donations, is actually going to return over $33 million just this year alone in grants. Okay, so when we think about that's very powerful. So let me just tell you, because the foundation has the pillars that we always work with, and there's much you can do with that. Myself, I'm currently, this year, have been certified to be a reviewer for the scholarships. As we know that we offer a graduate scholarship and we offer a certificate scholarship. So the way it works for me, I've just completed the certification, and then come May, the foundation will assign essays to me that I will review and then follow through with the selection process. Now, what's amazing about those scholarships, we talk about the Centers of Peace, which was started right in our district, by the way, but when we look at it, We also say that that's not the only thing that we allow them to get degrees in. Provided that those degrees that they receive, scholarships, they align themselves with the pillars, whether it be health, faith, peace. You know, there's a lot happening there. So today on Giving Tuesday, what I wanted to address everyone with is that the foundation had asked that if it was possible that each member could donate up to $100. Now that's it. Now myself and a lot of other members in our clubs, we lead by example. So before I went into surgery this morning, I got on the internet and I went to Rotary.org. I brought down our club 7680 and I made a donation. I logged in. If you don't log in, then it just goes into one of the other 5 other choices, I believe. But you know, I donated my $100. Those that can't afford $100, there's a space there for $25. You know, but making sure that the club gets credit, because we are a unique club, and there's so many grants that are out there. Now, my background over a decade goes from, let's say, child trafficking to establishing schools, to establishing medical facilities, to going into hard-hit areas when it comes to hurricanes, things of that nature. So I've had a good run and watched the foundation come full circle. And what I want to say to people in my experience in dealing with the foundation, it's a phase, it's a step. We are ranked as the top 3 organizations that provides transparency for the money that you donate. And that's pretty powerful. And that's been consecutive years. And again, that transparency is why other organizations partner with us, like the Gates Foundation. You know, they step in there with their 50 million, and here we are tackling polio, and we're that close of solving that. And as we move on from there, of course, we'll pick another disease and take the same approach. We have the resources. I can tell you on when I went on Hurricane Maria, for example, and the resources were slim, but I had Rotary in my tool bag that allowed me to bring in other resources like the water management people out of the Carolinas. I think they're in Charlotte. And I had worked with them before in Honduras. So it's about networking. But when we start a project and we ask the foundation for funds, one thing that I will say is that you have to be willing to work with that project from beginning to end, is number one. And number two, if it's only been your first project, because I remember my first project, we were all gung-ho. We were going to drill for water, set up a city through Water Missions International. A project that was supposed to be 1 year turned out to 3 years. Now, we've gotten a lot better in streamlining, but transparency is the key. Community assessments, things of that nature. But where do you put your donation? And we do have people leaving, you know, and it's considerable. I want to say it's about 10% per year. And we're trying to stabilize that. But Rotary International is a global organization that provides the opportunity to rebuild, to empower people. So when you think about giving and Giving Tuesday, I'm not asking you to try to match me, okay? I'm just asking you to reach down in there, and it's tax deductible, even if it's just $25. And it makes a difference. It makes a difference in people's lives. I've gone into communities where there was no running water, and when Rotary International leaves, not only they have water going, I teach them aquaponics. Then I come back and I do it in phases. And this is when I was younger, where I could jump on a plane and go to Nicaragua or whatever, and then be back 2 days later. now I like sending the younger people personally, but the reality is the opportunities in humanities is huge. What I find amazing is 90% of us do not get paid. We do this from the heart, you know, and when you find that partner, because that is key, is finding a partner in another Rotary club, and then you partner them up, let's say with Rotary of Global Impact, one of the requirements, you know, and you get to know a different culture. The one thing that I noticed when we were building homes for orphan homes. Now, remember, Rotary does not build homes, so we would get homes and refurbish them. And I recognize it had to go a step further. So you know, starting them so that people would learn how to be economically feasible through life. So those relationships, those faces. The other thing I will recommend, and I posted on the message board here, you'll see two websites. One is what the foundation does. The other is Rotary.org, which each and every one of us have an account. Okay, go in there. Go in the Learning Center. Expose yourself to that, because those are the tools that you're going to take in the field. And again, we at Rotary of Global Impact, we're a unique club, but we're all over the world. And the ability to get a hold of a group, I decided to be a reviewer for the scholarships, because at that time I was I suffered a spinal cord injury, and I said, okay, so how do I give back? You're always thinking, how do you work with Rotary? And my thoughts was, okay, well, I can review the next year's scholarships. And then I went and looked at it, and you know, these scholarships are paid from the time they leave their house. Anything over $65 is paid for. All the requirements is that this individual has to implement one of the pillars in his learning. The other thing is of course, it cannot be a member of Rotary. It has to be from the outside. So I could go on and on, because there's so many magnificent things that we do here in Rotary as individuals. But what I want you all to understand on this very special day, when you look at $33 million, be a part of that. Because if you look at that $33 million that's going out and what's coming in, and then what the operational cost is, and then what the transparency.
I think we lost him.
Uh-oh. Looks like he left and he just joined.
There?
Did we
Oh, he
lose him?
froze. He froze up. He's back, but he froze. Well, I'll just pick it up on the foundation. Wait a minute. Mike might be back. Mike, unmute.
Okay, how we doing?
We got you again. There you go.
Okay, so what I want to make quick here is that there's so many opportunities, and Martin will tell you, we have talked to people that have donated $1 million, and you ask them why they do it, and they do it because the foundation and its transparency, and that's where it's at. And your $25 is going to make a difference. But all I ask when you donate, and today, I'm talking about today, if you look on my social media, before I came into the hospital this morning, at Old Dark 30, that's what I did. Because I know that money is going to be used wisely. And when you ask these millionaires, why did they do it? They say the same thing, because they know their money is not going to be misused. So I ask you all, because the foundation does a lot, and look at the website, be part of Rotary.org, and you'll see the two links that I provided. And, you know, let's show a showing for 7680, right, Martin?
Absolutely, absolutely. Don't forget to log in, use your password, and log in. If you've never logged in at Rotary.org, you're going to be using your email address on file with Rotary, and then you'll go through and get your password and log in. But then if you do any donations, even if it's $5, it'll go towards the credit of you becoming a Paul Harris Fellow. which is very important. And the club gets credit, which means Pauline looks good. And the club looks good, and the district gets credit. So
Exactly.
it's very important.
Exactly. And it's a good thing. I mean, Giving Tuesday started in 2012, and to increase those funds all the way to this year, they're saying 17%. And then you have Rotary looking at that 33 million out there. And then I look at whether it's Africa, India. That's why I don't have a problem answering the call and then, explain how the structure is. Once you understand the structure, then, we're able to tap into that foundation. And Martin, we've already done that. We've tapped into foundation money. And
Yeah.
you have to be aggressive. You have to be aggressive. Correct, Martin?
Yeah, and I think the endowment, if you look at it, it earned 30.5% in 2021. So that's one hell of a return for any manager to step up to the board of directors and say, hey, I'm happy to report that we brought in 30.5%. That's pretty outrageous. So over the past 5 years, the endowment has grown from 483 million to 623 million and generated an average annual return of 10.3%. That still is good on an annual basis. The rate of return is the total realized and unrealized capital gains. And you can look at our endowment market value. It is on a fast track. It's straight up. If you want to look at these charts going back all the way back to 1985, and the Polio Plus Fund, I'm a monthly donor of the Polio Society, and so is many other people. So I donate every month, which if you're looking at our reports on the district and you're pulling them down, you'll notice our amount of donations keeps growing. And certainly from Mike's today, it'll continue to grow. But I belong to the Polio Society, the Polio Plus Society. So it just auto debits from my account every month.
That's
One other
fantastic.
thing, Martin, one other thing, Dr. Pauline, I will say is that when Martin started the club, more because of what happened in Ukraine, started to surface these emergency funds. Now, Rotary will never admit it, but I do believe it was Martin that said, "Hey, we should have these funds." And now, if you look at it, you'll have one for Pakistan, you'll have one for Ukraine, and I haven't looked, but there's possibly one, for Israelis and so on. But what I'm getting at is we were able to convince them of the issue and immediately streamline $50,000. Now, some people will say that's not enough money, but think about it. Rotary maintained transparency with the $50,000. Rotary also takes on projects of $1 million and more. So bring us your ambition is what I would say, and then bring us our community overview of what you're trying to do. The process starts with our president, and then when you do that community assessment, you have your partners, and again, the project itself is driven by the local Rotary clubs. And that's where we are very unique at. Remember, think about it. We've already worked in different countries and we've only been going now, what, Martin, 3 years now?
We're coming up on 2.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got started in 2000 in Japan, but
even shorter, because I was thinking back, when I was doing child trafficking, building the hospitals, I spanned that over 10 years, and the first aid kits went out in the first 2 months.
Yeah.
So we've got it. And we know how to, let's say, solidify it, validate it, and form the partners up. So as we give on Giving Tuesday, understand this: do not be shy to bring us $1 million project or $2 million project. Again, the steps are there on Rotary.org. You can go and take the classes. They can go ahead and modify. To be quite honest with you, I need to update my financial classes. And I speak of this because I still believe I'm the leader in online classes for Rotary.org. you know. And so I've taken every one of the courses other than other languages, but it's going to tell you how you can manage the foundation in your favor. And that's about empowerment, you know, and we have some very dynamic people in our club. So if you ever want to, let's say, have a conversation about this, I want you to feel free to call me. You know, I know we're all on different time zones or something, and let's get the conversation going to the point that we are doing community assessments. We're taking advantage of Giving Tuesday, and again, let's be part of that $33 million.
That's fantastic. I'm so impressed, Dr. Mike. That's absolutely amazing. I'm just aware of the time. I want to just check in. Have we done the 50-50 draw already?
We
Oh,
didn't do
yes.
it, and Shankar, I think, is ready with the slips of paper to show
So
that.
we better go for this because we're running up to
Okay.
the hour. So
Yeah.
you take it away, Marty. What are you going to do?
Yeah, Shankar,
Thank
are
you,
you ready
Dr.
with the camera and the slips of paper with everybody's name?
Yeah, the slips of paper right here. Mona is just going to switch on the camera and come on.
Okay.
Yeah. Mona, you can say hello to everyone and then.
Hey.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be with you.
Okay, we got the drum roll going. We have everybody who entered with their name on a slip of paper. I think Patty had 5 entries. So she actually has her name on 5 slips of paper, and somebody like myself who did 2. I have 2 slips of paper. So can you get all those together and put them in a hat or put them in a box?
Can you see it? Here.
Yep, we can
Can't
see it.
Can we see it?
Yep, we see them.
Yeah. These are all the, slips of papers with names on it.
Okay,
So,
yep, I see them.
We got this magical.
Got this magic.
Oh, yeah. That's the real thing there from the genie.
Yeah.
So we're gonna put
Yeah.
all that.
Whose name is Dummy? One of them says Dummy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So we got them all in.
All right, are you guys ready?
Can you see it?
We can see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
We can see you're
Yeah.
not looking in the hat. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm gonna.
Okay, so now
We had-
Shankar is going to pick one.
We had 19 entries, each at $5.
So there you go. Yeah.
The total bankroll is $95. I'll throw in another 5 to make it 100.
got
So whoever
one.
wins this gets $50.
And the winner is
Who is that?
Shankar.
Oh my God.
Shankar! Oh,
Wow.
no way, bro.
All the way on the other end of the world. Okay.
Oh, it's a fix.
It's rigged. Okay, buddy.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
man.
I just don't believe this.
What are the odds he would draw his own name out of the hat?
Okay. Okay.
We will be doing another one. We're going to be doing another 50-50 to raise money. Half the money goes to the club, the other half goes to the winner. So stay tuned. We're going to open it back up again.
Wow, that was fantastic.
Maybe we should donate it to what Roderick was talking about.
Yes, we would like to give it back to the club, what we just heard.
You
It was
can if you want to, or you can give it to Giving Tuesday.
Giving Tuesday.
I will check that and then get back. Pauline, I will talk to you and see how this can be taken forward. I'm so amazed by what Mr. Roderick talked. It touched me so much that I thought I would just impulsively do it, but I can go through Pauline and see what we can do. Thank you so much.
Whatever you decide, I have the credit card for the club. So if that's what you decide, I'll go on to Rotary.org, but just let me know this week or next week.
Sure.
Well, that's
Thank you so much.
That's fantastic, and I appreciate that, Shankar, as well. So, I think is there anybody else who has something they would like to say before we close the meeting? Ritu or Patty?
Yes,
Oh, Aaron.
like to thank our guests, presenters, Brittini and Dr. Mike. Brittini, this is a wonderful project. I would be in touch with you offline to see how we can support you. And Dr. Mike, this was very informative. Thank you for taking time after your surgery to be part of this event today. Back to you, Dr. Pauline.
Okay. Is there anybody else want to make any short comment as we come up to the hour? I think I would send you.
Aaron, I think wants to talk about the project, but we could take that offline. And Brittini, I also have some resources that might help you out as well.
Thanks, Patty. I appreciate it.
Give him 30 seconds. He's got about half a minute. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, so I talked to Mark Luther this morning. We just need to maybe do a breakout room and just talk about the direction that we want to take on the one pager. I know, just get everybody's input on the aesthetics, copy, etc. That's pretty much it. That way we can move forward. And Patty Will wanted to talk to you about coordinating in New York. And that's it.
And that whole project is collecting games and winter coats for children in Maryland on the Eastern Shore and up in New Jersey to ship to Ukraine. So that's what it's all about, guys.
That's fabulous. And
I think clothes as well, not just coats.
Yeah,
clothes.
Okay. Yeah, children-sized clothes, youth clothes, and games like board games that build cognitive ability and will bring the family together when they don't have power.
That's fantastic.
No battery operated.
Right.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
That's fantastic. And we're going to post that out on the members only, and Friends of Rotary. We'll get as many people to do that. I met a lovely lady who actually is related to Ukraine and to Russia, so I'll bring her into the club when I get to know her better. Very interesting lady. So we'll try and pull some strings. So I just want to say, I want to send you the blessings of a very cold UK, and I'm looking forward to flying back next Wednesday, the 6th, and we will meet on our next open meeting on the what date is it? The 13th of December.
I believe 12th of December.
Yeah, it's the 12th, Tuesday, the 12th, second
12th of December.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think it was a fabulous meeting. I love what you were talking about, Brittini, very exciting, and what Dr. Mike has to share, again, very exciting. I need to do some more searching around Rotary.org. Now, I hope all of you are in Rotary.org. If any of you aren't, make sure you get down there and fill out your profile, because that's really important, isn't it, Marty?
Yes, and put your photo, please. The bigger you make your profile, the more business connections and contact you'll get from Rotarians worldwide working on international business projects. If your profile has little to no words for SEO and what you're involved in with your life and business, you'll probably receive no contact, no business deals, and no professional interaction. So your profile at Rotary.org is very important for international business. Your profile at DACDB is less important. That's just for the club. Okay. So just go in there and build it out. Yeah, type it out.
Yeah, I just have one last thing. I just wanted to know from Brittini, is your project replicatable? Because I understood broadly that it's about bringing the green inside the residences.
It is. So the blueprint you can replicate in the States and in other countries. You just have to tweak the supportive services, which is why it's designed to support existing nonprofits that are doing the work. So you can customize it to veterans, refugees, right? You find an established nonprofit that's doing good work, verifiable, and then you partner with them. That's why we form strategic partnerships.
Thank you.
That
Very
sounds
interesting.
that sounds really. There's a question from Isiak. Isiak?
Not a question, more like helping hand basically. Right? If anybody, since Marty mentioned, SEO optimized profiles, if anybody wants that, just reach out to me, to my fellow, members. I'm more than happy to help out. All right. Thank you.
Sounds good.
That's really good. Thank you for offering that, Isiak.
Oh, can I
Okay,
just add
so-
one more thing?
Yes.
Just one more quick little thing. If anybody has a non-for-profit that is promoting wellness, particularly with coping with grief, I am matching any bulk donations, any bulk orders. So contact me. If anybody's ordering bulk orders for the whole month of December, I will match it starting today, Giving Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. That's wonderful, wonderful. So I'm signing off now from the UK. I'm going to go make my another cup of tea.